On this episode of the What to Watch Guys, we'll talk about a controversial documentary based on a simple question, a series about the making of a championship team, and a show about an adorable piece of space-age technology. All that, plus our YouTube picks of the week, and much more.
So I was going to start by asking you guys what you think the future is, and this has been coming up a lot lately, in large part due to Elon Musk, but what's going to happen to cable news? With Tucker Carlson's firing and him going over and doing a show on Twitter and having 90 million downloads in 48 hours or something crazy. I mean, what, and we've got people like Megyn Kelly and Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder, Jordan Peters, all these people, now Tucker, are moving away from the giants. Moving away from the MSNBCs and Fox News and CNNs and ABC, CBS, NBC. And they're all, not all, but many are going and just throwing up a webcast or a podcast or whatever you want to call it.
And raking in the downloads.
Now, I don't know how that works out financially.
It's pretty remarkable how suddenly that turned. I don't think it bodes well for cable or broadcast news. I really don't.
No, and I mean, their ratings are, part of it's, Fox was always so dominant over the other cables as CNN and MSNBC, but that was largely, in my opinion, and many's, because, Fox is conservative and everyone else is liberal.
Well, Fox was the only one that was conservative.
My point is,
go on.
MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS, all of those are splitting their demographic.
Right. That's what I mean. They're sharing it.
And Fox was pretty much it. I mean, you've got Newsmax and a couple others now, but you'll find, I think you're seeing this huge proliferation, don't you think, of conservative news or opinion, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing it online, on streaming, like YouTube and now Twitter. It's huge.
Well, what I think is going on is with Elon opening up Twitter. Before you had Fox, you had the left and the right, and both of them controlled the message. And the networks laid down a criteria by which that you can only report under these on this area and in this way.
Right. And not only what you say, but what stories you choose to broadcast and which ones you spike.
Almost more importantly.
Exactly.
Right. But almost more importantly. Yeah.
But now Elon's allowing free speech. Say whatever you want. I heard Megyn Kelly the other day
Imagine that. What a radical idea.
I watched Megyn Kelly use the word shit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. She says whatever she wants.
And she goes, I'm writing what I want to write. And they're doing, and guess what? It's different.
It is different. It's interesting. And, so much of it is the autonomy they're allowed. And that's what they say. Whether it's MSNBC and CNN or whether it's Fox, you're put into a funnel, what you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say. And Tucker Carlson's been a perfect example of that. And, all these folks are coming out and saying,
that's right,
I'm producing myself. This show is low budget, right? I don't need a $13 million set and, $50 million worth of cameras. I got a couple of, $100 cameras or whatever.
People like us are doing it at home. Why can't they?
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly right. And now I don't think that the cable news channels are going to go away. Cable news didn't bring about the end of network broadcast news. They're still there.
True.
They're a shell. They're not what they used to be in the days of David Brinkley and Walter Cronkite. But they're still around.
Yeah, and a lot of people
and
still turn to it.
CNN, MSNBC, there'll be, as long as there's an airport in the world, there'll be CNN.
Yeah. Well, I think what's so fascinating to me about this is so much of this, like everything, so many other aspects of the world today. Elon Musk is really kind of driving this bus, And he made, and he was the darling of the left when he was making electric cars and, all that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he wants to have a free platform where everyone's allowed to say what they want. And the left just freaks out.
And that is anathema to the left.
And you know what makes them the maddest? When he put Tucker up there And Tucker did his show and got huge download numbers for Twitter. I mean, let's be honest.
Twitter.
He was getting 300 million views a day. He was by far the biggest guy on cable.
Right.
And he got, if he gets 100 or 150 million on Twitter, that's still pretty darn good for that. But what really ticked him off was when Elon commented right after that was downloaded. He openly invited, I think Rachel Maddow, Don Lemon, and some of them.
Right.
Come on over. And they hate that. And they haven't yet because this has only been a week. But he's saying, look, this isn't about being a conservative. Twitter's not going to be conservative. That's the whole point. It's whoever wants to say, as long as you're not, threatening violence or doing something like that, say what you want. I think it's great.
I think Musk is one of those guys who understands that the way that you combat ideas that you don't like is to air them.
Right.
Put them out there in the public square, debate them, let them rise or fall based on their merits. You don't suppress them. You don't silence voices that you don't like. And I think that's going to be a winning formula for him.
I certainly think it will. And we'll see. I mean, it's ticking off both sides at different times, but I think it's the future, and I think it's fascinating, and it's really, like everything else Elon does, it's going to be interesting to watch.
Well, speaking of Elon Musk, I'm doing there's a movie, a gentleman by the name of Matt Walsh did a movie called What is a Woman? Now, he originally made a deal with Twitter to air it, and then 2 days before it was supposed to launch, Twitter came back and said it had hate speech in it. So they canceled it. They wouldn't do it. Then Elon heard about it and said, no. And he shared it on his personal space. Said, come on and watch it. Come on and watch it. But basically what it is, he goes around all over the country, or for that matter, the world, and he asks people the simple question, what is a woman? Now,
seems simple enough.
Yeah. He went to a feminist march and stood before a group and was, asking people, what is a woman? And they responded, they did not like that at all. And as a matter of fact, there was one woman. This is crazy. Have you ever had a doctor with green hair?
Not that I can remember.
I've never. Trust me, the last couple of years, I've seen a lot of doctors, and not a single, not a single green-haired person.
Do you have something against people with green hair?
I just think that neon color dye hair affects your brain.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Could be.
But anyway, so he met with a couple doctors and
so what kind of questions is he asking, Andrew? Just what's a woman, or is it?
What is
it
a woman? Yeah, and then he talks about this whole transitioning children, because apparently they're giving these children puberty blockers,
right?
And apparently one of the drugs they use to do that is the same drug that they use to chemically castrate men, that are behave badly. And what happens when they give that to a young girl or boy? It sterilizes them, so they'll never have children.
Wow,
it's
baffling. It really is. For children. I feel like I'm open to whatever. If somebody's 25 years old and they have the gender dysphoria and they feel like there should be the
legal adult, right.
I think it's beautiful. Do you, baby?
You're
do
at
you?
The age of consent,
right? Exactly.
Right. That's
but
the whole
children,
thing. That's
wow,
the big thing. Anyway, so it's called What is a Woman? It's on Twitter. It's by Matt Walsh, and it's very controversial, but it's very thought-provoking, and it definitely inspired me on a political journey.
Really interesting.
All right. All right. Well, my show, we're going to shift gears here, is a series that debuted last spring in 2022. This show is on HBO Max, now rebranded simply as Max, and it's called Winning Time. It's the story of the LA Lakers' rise to really the pinnacle of NBA basketball in the 1980s, and the three, creative forces that made it happen. Now, the main character, we'll call him Visionary Number One. He is a tactless, flamboyant, real estate tycoon with a love of pro sports and a ridiculous orange comb over. No, not him.
I know him.
I'm talking about Jerry Buss.
Oh, okay.
Buss decides he's going to buy the struggling Lakers and invest in a league. And the NBA at that time the ratings were so low that, you weren't even getting regular coverage. I mean, unless it was playoffs.
Nobody watched it.
On network TV. People weren't watching NBA basketball. Buss decides, well, we can change that. So he leverages pretty much everything he's got and a lot that he didn't have to invest in this team and reinvent it kind of Hollywood style. They are LA, right? So Laker basketball, it was really more than just a game. It became must-see entertainment, which is exactly what Jerry Buss was going for. And those of us who lived, I mean, they had the Laker girls, and they had celebrities at courtside, and they had all of this stuff. They had a big club, the Lakers club at the Forum. And those of us who lived in LA at the time, we loved it. We were Lakers fans.
I was there
through and
then.
through. Yeah.
It was huge.
Now, it was huge. Now, the show is kind of schmaltzy in a way. The actors alternately become the narrators as they sometimes look into the camera and talk directly to the viewers, which is kind of corny, but it works. The dialogue is raunchy, and some of the scenes are highly R-rated. It is HBO after all. And
awesome.
It's anything but woke. It's mostly based on fact, though it doesn't claim to be quite a documentary. It's just a wild little stroll down memory lane and really fun to watch. I just really definitely recommend Winning Time on Max.
So, guys, we're three of us are definitely of an age that we are NASA space geeks. I mean, we grew up with NASA.
Totally. God, I had those posters all over my wall.
Absolutely. And
I remember the Gemini and Mercury mission.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's going back to...
I remember Mercury, but I remember Gemini.
Well, I certainly remember the three of us, I'm sure all three saw live Armstrong walk on the moon. That was...
Absolutely.
Changed our lives. I mean, that was huge.
Changed everything.
So I watched this... I watched this movie the other night.
We call him Neil.
Neil. I watched this movie on Amazon Prime called Goodnight Oppy. And I didn't know what to expect. It's a documentary. It's an hour and a half, more or less, film about... Opportunity, the nickname Oppy, which was the Mars rover that was launched in 2003 to go to Mars. Now, before this, going to Mars was extremely difficult, obviously, and there were a lot of unsuccessful missions. It was primarily because it takes almost 10 minutes to send a signal to Mars and back. So it's virtually impossible in real time to control a robot or a rover, a landing vehicle. So everything had to be programmed. But the amazing thing about this vehicle was that it lasted 15 years.
Wow.
And as a result of that, the people that were involved, the engineers, the ground crew, the launch crew, all these people became so attached to this vehicle, the designers, that it was like a family member. And that's kind of...
Wally.
Yeah, like Wally.
Yeah, like a real life Wally.
And they also have some amazing CGI, I guess, to see what the rover's doing.
Sure.
And that was all done by Industrial Light and Magic, George Lucas's company. So it's very high quality stuff.
Wow.
But really what makes this movie stand apart is that its ability to intertwine the scientific part of it, the like geek stuff, wow, look, they found this rock, they found this, with the human perspective and how attached these people became to this vehicle, this inanimate object. And at the end, it's not really a spoiler. Eventually it stopped working. It's incredibly emotional when these people no longer have contact with this thing. So I really recommend this movie. It's heartwarming. Plus it's really scientific. It's a lot of fun. And to watch it, it's just amazing. It's just really, Angela Bassett, it's the narrator too.
Oh, yeah.
So it's called Goodnight Oppy, and it's on Amazon Prime. And if you got an hour and a half to watch a really interesting documentary, check it out, man. It's really good.
Excellent. Well, as always, here on the What to Watch, guys, we like to talk about some of the great stuff that you can find right here on YouTube. And this week is certainly no exception. So for our YouTube picks, why don't we start with Andrew?
Well, I'm going back to Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh has the Matt Walsh Show. He just recently did an episode where he talked about how the Wall Street Journal, the Stanford University, and the University of Massachusetts at Amherst reported that Instagram allowed and promoted accounts that openly buy and commission underage sex content. Whoa. Instagram connects pedophiles and guides them and connects sellers via recommendation systems.
Wow.
That excel at linking those who share this niche interest. The Wall Street Journal and the academic researchers found this.
Now, there is a euphemism, if ever I've heard one, niche interest.
Whoa.
You mean...
That's creepy.
Predatory perversion?
Yes.
And Instagram hasn't taken it down? Or
That's the last time I watched an episode, they had not.
Wow.
Apparently, researchers found that Instagram enabled people to share explicit hashtags such as hashtag PaleoWhore and hashtag preteen sex and connect them with accounts that use those terms to advertise child sex materials for sale.
So they're not even trying to cover it up.
Wow, that's pretty disgusting. That's hard to believe. But, I mean, some of the stuff these social media sites do take down and cancel, and they leave that up there?
And they leave that.
Right.
Anyway.
Tells you what you need to know.
Yeah. Woo.
Well, we all like to turn people on to music that we love and maybe new to them. And I love seeing their reactions when they listen, especially a style of music, they may not be exposed to. Well, this channel is one of those, and you can kind of experience that same thing. It's called Polo Reacts.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just this dude.
He's great.
Don't know anything else about him except for he likes to wear baseball caps. And he's, I think, raised in mostly R&B hip hop world, and then he listens to music that he's never heard before and just gives his reactions. So you get to hear the song as he's hearing it for the first time, and you watch his reaction, and it's stuff like Led Zeppelin and Metallica and Steely Dan and stuff like that. And he'll stop the video at various points and just say, okay, now this is completely what I was expecting and blah, 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 blah. And then he'll turn it on and you see him just kind of.
Yeah, I love that.
just going for it. So classic, a lot of, classic stuff.
Yeah, classic rock.
But they also have him reacting to comedy routines like Dave Chappelle and George Carlin and Bill Burr. And the reactions are just priceless. Yeah. It's really fun to see him breaking out of his comfort zone and digging on stuff that, we've loved for years. Right. So check out the Polo Reacts channel on YouTube.
One of my favorite things to watch lately has been fossil hunting. I freaking love it. It's so interesting. So there's a bunch of those channels. The one I just fell across is called PaleoCris. And he's a young guy, and he's got, I guess, a girlfriend. I assume she's his girlfriend because they do a lot of them together. And he also has a couple other friends. But this guy's really smart. I assume he has like some kind of graduate degree in, paleontology or, something. Sure. But he is in Florida, and he goes through these creeks and marshlands and scoops up stuff, and he finds megalodon teeth this big, and
really
cool.
At the end of the video, he lays out all the stuff he found on this particular day, on this particular, excavation or whatever you want to call it. And anyway, it's a lot of fun to see how they do it. And the guy knows he'll pick up a little bone and say, "Oh, that's a tortoise," carpal tunnel.
So he can just kind of recognize
he knows what everything is. And, stuff like that. He just knows what everything is. So anyway, it's a lot of fun. He's got about 150,000 subscribers and maybe 15 million views. So it's called PaleoCris, CRIS. Check it out, man, if you like that stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Well, folks, that's our show. And we hope you liked it. We thank you for stopping by. If you're hearing me, that means you stuck around till the end. And we're so happy about that. That makes a world of difference to us. We'd love to hear from you. We've told you what we think about stuff. Why don't you tell us what you think? Give us your thoughts, your questions, your suggestions, anything at all you care to say in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check us out on social media, and we'll see you next time on the What to Watch Guys.
Take it from the What to Watch guys.